Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we are going to continue our practice of long division. Today we will continue our practice of long division using the standard algorithm. And today we are going to add in 4-digit by 2-digit, which is our 5th grade TEK that we are working our way towards. Yesterday we reviewed 2-digit by 1-digit, 3-digit by 1-digit, 4-digit by 1-digit, and today we are moving forward to our 5th grade skills. So if you have your dry erase boards, a marker, or blank sheets of paper, have those ready to go so that you are ready to review and work with me as we are working. Remember, D, divide, steps, multiply, then subtract. Afterwards, we bring it down, bring it back, repeat. There are several acronyms that you can use to remember those steps, but those 3 steps, remember, they are divide, multiply, and subtract. You bring it down and repeat as many times as you need to. So new acronyms that you can see to use: daddy, mama, sister, brother. First we divide, then we multiply, then we subtract. You bring it down or bring it on back. Another acronym, dirty monkeys smell bad, is another acronym you can use: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, repeat. Or the one that we've been using, does McDonald's sell cheeseburger, where you are checking, you are bringing down or bringing up. They all are the same. Remember, every time: does McDonald's sell, divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down or bring up, then repeat those steps. In your journals or on a dry erase board, let's try this one. We have 9,813 divided by 8. Remember your dividend, your divisor, and you're trying to get your quotient. So if you are ready to go and you have that, pause the video here and try to solve it on your own. If not, you can try to work through as we go. Remember, it is most important to write your multiples of 8 out to the side. So if you don't know your multiples, you'll have to pause it and think, but they are 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, and 64. And remember to work all the way through your multiples of 9 so that you can get it. You are thinking about your steps. So if you are confident, now pause the video and go through those steps. Okay, so checking your work. 8 divides into 9 one time. 1 times 8 is 8. Then you subtract. 9 minus 8 is 1. Bring down 18. Then you start all over. 8 divides into 18 2 times. 2 times 8, you should have 16. 16 minus from 18, you are left with 2. Then you bring down your 1. Then you start completely all over. 8 divides into 21, 2 times again. 2 times 8 is 16. When you subtract 21 minus 16, you are left with 5. You bring down that 3. 3, and it becomes 53. 8 divides into 53. 6 times. 6 times 8 is 48. Then you subtract. 53 minus 48 is 5. Then you have a remainder of 5. Check your work and make sure that you have done that correct. Now we're going to move to the next one. You have 4 on the outside, and it reads 1,208 divided by 4. Now, remember to put your multiples of 4 out to the outside. Get in the habit of writing those down. They should be quick and easy. You have 4, you have 8, you have 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. Now, if you have those written down, pause the video here, try to go through the steps on your own, and then come back and check your work. Okay, so here you have some more steps to go through. Check your work and make sure you got it correct. You should have written 1,208 divided by 4. 4 cannot divide into 1, so you put your 0. 0 times 4 is 0. 12 is the new number that you're dividing. 4 divides into 12 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. You subtract, you get 0, bring down your 0. 4 divides into 0, 0 times. 4 times 0 is your 0. Then you bring down your 8, and 4 divides into 8 2 times. 2 times 8 is 8, 0. And your answer is 1,208 divided by 4 is 302. Now we're getting into our harder problems. This is a 5th grade equation. So right here, you are going to pause the video. I want you to come up with your multiples of 14. If you don't know your multiples of 14, take a moment to pause the video here, and we are going to write those down to get moving towards our work. Okay, so your multiples of 14, you should have gotten 14, 28, 42, 56, 70, 84, 98, and 112. Now these are the same steps. Remember to put those multiples out to the side, and we're going to go through, put your multiplication on the outside, and we're going to work through this first one together. Now we're taking our multiples of 14. So 14 can divide into 32 2 times. So remember, put your 0 in that front house as your place value holder, and we're not dividing it into 3, we're dividing it into 32. So 14 divides into 32 2 times. 2 times 14 is 28. You're going to then subtract. Now 12, and this becomes a 2. 12 minus 8 is 4. And you bring down your 7. Now we're looking. 14 divides into 47 3 times. 3 times 14 is 42. You subtract. 47 minus 42, 7 minus 2 is 5. You bring down your 4, and you have 54. Now you're looking here. 14 divides into 54. Again, that is a 3. 3 times 14 is 42. And when you subtract, you end up with 12. And if you're like, how do I end up with a remainder of 12? 12 is still less than 14, so that is possible. So you have a remainder of 12. Now, these get a little bit more tricky. So it is super duper important to write out your multiples. That takes a little bit of time. So make sure you're doing that as part of your steps. We're going to practice one more. Okay, here we have our multiples of 21 that need to be done first. We're dividing 4,518 into 21. So you need to first come up with your multiples. So pause the video here. Come up with your multiples, and then we'll come back and check and make sure that they are correct and work through this together. Okay, so here are our multiples of 21. You have 21, 42, 63, 84, 105, 126, and 147. So put your multiplication sign here on the outside. I'm going to switch up my colors. So again, 21 can't divide into 4, so make sure you put your 0 if you need to go through that step. Bring it on down where you have your 45, and now we can work. So 21 divides into 45 2 times, because 21 times 2 is 42. So we're going to put a 2 up top. 2 times 21 is your 42. Subtract. Bring it on down. Now here's the next one. 21 divides into 31 one time. 1 times 21 is 21. This becomes a 0. This becomes a 1, and this drops down to your 8. Now you might get tricked up in your brain and be like, ooh, this is not good, but it's still okay. Look over here. 21 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 105. So it still works. You're still okay. Bring down that 3. And I have nothing left to bring down. Here is my remainder of 3. Now, if you're like, oh, I need to check my work, remember you can always work backwards and go into multiplication. Again, we are reviewing your steps of division, And here is our last one that we're going to work through all together. This is your multiples of your 35. So if you don't know your multiples of 35, on a piece of paper, work through those. Pause the video here, get your multiples written down first. I'm going to pause as well. Okay, so we have our multiples written down. Let's go through our steps. Remember, 35 can't divide into 9, so make sure that you put that 0. 35 times 0 is 0. If you need that step, do it. Okay, 35 can divide into 94 2 times. 70 goes down below. You subtract and bring it on down. Now, here I'm looking. 35 divides into 240. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. 35 times 6 is 210. When I subtract, so here I have 302. I don't have enough multiples over here. So if I add 30 here, 35, excuse me, I end up with, that is 5 and 3 is 8, 2, and that's my 280, and then another 35 is here, and I have 315. Okay, so this one is too big. We're going to work with this 280. If I count this out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 35 times 8 is 280. So I'm going to put that 280 here. And then I'm going to subtract. And I am left with a 2 and a 2 for 22 with a remainder of 22. Make sure that you check your work on those. And this next part is going to be practice, independent practice. And you're going to take some time to work on these. It just takes practice. All right, so on your Google Documents, those of you that are at home, you have 9 problems. And you might be like, oh my goodness, you don't have to do all of these. We're going to do 6 of them. And if you get finished, then these last 3 are extra practice. Again, these last 3 that are here are extra practice. So I will be making sure that you don't have to do these unless you get finished early and you can do them. But you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 long division equations that I want you to practice. And it should take you a little bit of time because you're going to have to come up with your multiples, which is gaining up, doubling, adding on all of these problems. So take your time, work through them. This is all that I want you guys to do today because it is big time practice for you. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. So you don't have to do the last 3 unless you get finished early. If you are at home, you might have to write these down and take a picture of them to get it sent in to me. All right, so I'll see you on the independent practice. If you have questions, make sure that you let me know.